the cake, if you like, of public funding is going right down, and the only way that we're going to make these things successful is if we utilise and galvanise the private sector and get private investment in. So for me, it's very simple actually, that this is about investment and jobs.
So I think there's no answer here from what I've seen. There's a very fluid approach to what's happening just now, and I think what we'll see over the next, certainly post round 1 and into round 2 and round 3 of the regional growth fund applications, LEPs becoming more mature, but potentially even morphing into different shapes and sizes.
If you're running a business, you usually don't end one strategy before you've got another strategy in place. We've seen a big reduction in the levels of business support through whether it's the RDAs or whether it's through business links, because obviously they've all taken significant spending cuts, and that's affected the support that businesses are getting in the region. The government's got to cut its cloth according to the income that it receives, which is only good, prudent business management, but I do think they could have been a bit cleverer in the way they actually manage this whole process.
My first job, in fact, is making sure that I recruit the best and broadest church of private sector members onto the board to sit with me on the board. That's the start point. The next start point is trying to see, well, is the LEP an organisation that's just going to sit around the table and talk, or is it actually going to have some teeth and do something?
The game's changed. How can we make the best of it? Leeds City region will be the biggest LEP outside London. We've got very significant capacity and people coming in like James in Sheffield. If I had to pick out 3 things that we've had from the previous structure that we really want going forward, one is inward investment, and I don't think we can rely on London-based organisations and the Foreign Office to back for Leeds and Sheffield and this part of the world. Secondary is low carbon, huge opportunity for us to make a real difference. We've built good capacity, we don't need a lot of money, we just need a bit of priming capacity. And the third is tourism, where we have clearly made a huge impact through Gary at Welcome to Yorkshire and the work that's been done there, and it would be a crying shame if we were to lose that.
I think the funding issue, and certainly for the private sector, is the private sector needs to see structure, it needs to see sustainability and a path and a return. However that return is articulated, the narrow sense or the broader sense, and I don't think that's structures there. That it's right that there's concern about funding. For that reason, the private sector will be a little reticent in engaging, will need convincing, and the pot of money available from the centre seems relatively small, if it is, as we're told, at the levels that it is. Maybe there's more, who knows? And maybe there is a longer plan, probably infrastructure related projects. How is that going to work? Because those things are likely to be the things that make a 50-year difference, not a 5-year difference. And I think that's very unclear, and it needs to be clear.
I believe this is a great opportunity for the private sector to influence the economic development agenda, because for the last number of years we've had it done to us. But it's very early days, and I do think that some local authorities are struggling to let go. They want to do more of what they've always done. And as Tom said, it's a new world now, and what's happened previously is not going to work anymore. And it's up to us in the private sector to say, hang on, these are the real obstacles that we need to address. And we were talking about power supply. You can't try and regenerate an area if you can't power an industrial estate. We need to tackle some of those big barriers that are stopping growth. The danger is that we start getting very parochial and looking at very localised issues, as you say, like the little Scarborough element, rather than looking pan across the region.